Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Missouri School Boards Association's Board Report for the month of September. We thank you for the opportunity to share some news and information during a few minutes of your board meeting. We begin with a look at the release of this year's state assessment data. The MAP assessments have served as the cornerstone of state and federal accountability systems for more than 20 years, but not this year. Students throughout Missouri took the MAP assessments last spring under the unprecedented circumstances surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. Because of those challenges, the State Board of Education decided to suspend the use of those test results from state and federal accountability systems this year. Commissioner of Education Margie Van Dieven cautions everyone that blanket comparisons to previous year's assessment results would be a serious misuse of the data. But she says the data will be useful in other ways.
How can we learn from this unique period of time in education and to solve issues moving forward? Like many other industries across the state and nation, we are standing at a time where we can reimagine education. And closely looking at these data will help inform those new ways of doing business. We must also use these data to help us determine what individual student groups were mostly impacted by these variables, as well as how to allocate these COVID relief dollars to best serve our students, educators, and schools.
Van Dieven says she's pleased the high participation rate in last spring's assessments means there's no need for a fall testing window this year.
These data, along with your local assessments and other key data points, will shed light on the learning across our state and help us understand where Missouri students are academically and how to overcome the pandemic-related challenges presented. We look forward to working alongside local school leaders as we dig further into these data and together learn all we can to continue improving lives through education well into the future.
The statewide assessment data is being released this month, and individual school district data will be made available at a later date. As the new school year resumes in the midst of the continuing COVID-19 pandemic, school districts are placing a high priority not just on protecting the physical health of students, teachers, and staff, but also on addressing their mental health needs. Educators and mental health professionals are seeing more cases of anxiety and even depression among some students as the pandemic drags on. Detective Jason Klaus is the state coordinator for the Missouri Crisis Intervention Team, a group that teaches law enforcement officers and first responders how to recognize a mental health crisis and de-escalate the situation. Klaus, a former school resource officer in Perry County, says the group works closely with school safety personnel.
We work with a lot of school resource officers who are law enforcement, training them in crisis intervention, that de-escalation technique. But it really doesn't stop there, because if you think about your school counselors, your school administrators, your teachers, your custodians, bus drivers, they all find themselves in the middle of, a student, maybe even parents that may be in a mental health type crisis. So the skills, the de-escalation, all is very important to really an entire school district staff.
Klaus adds it's important for teachers to recognize changes in student behavior.
And they really are the first ones to recognize a change in that student, a change in behavior. And it could be something of grades start to drop, even by, a half a grade, which is out of their norm. Maybe truancy starts to become an issue, just things that are out of place. It is very paramount to begin that conversation of asking that person, is there something you'd like to talk about? Is there something going on? I've seen some changes, but by ignoring it, you kind of allow that situation to continue and get to a point where now it's maybe beyond what that teacher or conversation can do to really bring that individual back around and offer those services.
Klaus spoke at the recent School Safety Academy sponsored by MSBA's Center for Education Safety. The no-cost training is designed for school safety coordinators, school resource officers, and school protection officers, and allows them to earn a school safety specialist certification. A second School Safety Academy is scheduled for this month. There's still time to register for the 2021 MSBA Annual Conference in cooperation with the Missouri Association of School Administrators to be held November 5th through 7th in Kansas City. The event will once again feature numerous breakout sessions and workshops, many presented by school leaders from districts throughout the state, along with a great lineup of general session speakers, all in a new location at the Kansas City Convention Center. Among the general session speakers this year is former Kansas City Chiefs tight end and Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez, who is a strong advocate for programs designed to provide emotional support for children so they can be successful in school. And don't forget the 2021 Safe Schools and Colleges Forum, sponsored by MSBA Center for Education Safety, that will be held this year on November 4th in conjunction with the annual conference in Kansas City. Check the MSBA website for registration information and a schedule of conference sessions. That's it for this month's edition of the MSBA Board Report. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and so long from Columbia.